Hey there, in this tutorial I'm gonna show you exactly step by step how I build a coaching website, how I would do it for myself, how I would do it for friends, or if I would be taking on clients, how I would do this for clients. And because I'm gonna show you every single step on the way, this is something that you will be able to do for yourself or for your clients. So let's get started. First of all, let's have a look at the assets that we need in order to actually make a good looking website. So the first thing is we will need a logo for the website. And for that, I suggest to do something really simple, which is a text logo, and we can use Canva for that. So go into custom dimensions and make a 250 on 40 pixel width and create a new design. Then at the same time, let's go to fonts.google.com and here type in the name of your business. So in this case, I'm making a website for Esther Phillips. This is an invented name, but I'm going to show you exactly how I would do this if she was a real coach. And from here, I know that I want a script type of writing, and then I can see what is nice here, and I like this Quotient script, so that's the one that I will use for the logo. Now, in order to do that, to actually make the logo, we're going to Canva and then put the text on the page. So let's just add a heading, make that a whole bunch smaller. And type in our name. And so we want this to fit and put in our script. So the advantage of Canva is that they have the Google scripts already in there, so you can simply use it. And then what I want you to do is have one dark color and one light logo. So you will want to have one white logo, for example, and then one darker logo. Now, depending on the color of your site, this can be really like dark gray or even black, your logo, just to keep it simple. Or if the logo if your website has like a dark color, like a dark blue or something, then you can use that as the color for your logo. So in this case, I already know that the website that I want to use has this, this hex code to a 3166, which is like this dark purple. That's the color that I will use for everything on my website. So I can also use this for my logo. So in this case, I would make the logo bigger because I really wanted to fit this. This is pretty good. So I want to save this as my logo. What I need to do here is in publish. I want to download it, and what's very important is I want to download it as a transparent background. This is a premium feature of Canva, so it means that you would have to get the premium version, but they have a 14-day free trial, so you can sign up for the premium, save your logo, and then if you don't use it anymore, you can cancel it again. So from here, very important, let's download this with a transparent background. All right. Now, the next thing I want to do is have a white version of this. So simply put it in white and then do the same. Make sure that I download it with a transparent background. And now I have my dark version and my light version of the logo. This will allow me to have my logo standing out if I have a dark header, for example, or if I want a light header, I can use the dark logo. So it's just really easy to have both versions at the same time. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to go back into home and I want to pick a new custom dimension. And here we have to do 40 pixel by 40 pixel. This is this square image, and this will be for our favicon. So the favicon is this little image that you see next to the tab, and we want to make sure that we have that on our website too, because it looks nice and professional. All right. Let's add the text, make this a different color. Now let's make this a bit smaller. So in our case, we just want to take the initials of the website, so AP, and make it in the same font as our logo. So that was caution scripts. All right. And now again, we want to make sure that it covers as much of our square as possible. And then we can put it in our color, our brand color. Okay. And I already selected a color that I want for to stand out. So for the elements on my website that I want to stand out. And I'm actually going to use that color for the second letter because it just looks good. So in this case, I picked a dark pink to go with the dark violet. And 79. And this is going to be my favicon. So let's publish this. And again, download with a transparent background. And in this case, let's actually take the size, half the size. So do a 20 times 20 pixel. All right, so now we have our logo, both light and dark. We have our favicon. We need some pictures. Now for the website that we want to build, we will need 2 background images, which are like, yeah, just more of showing what your service is actually doing. And then we will need also an about the author picture. Now, what you can do if you don't, of course, I would suggest having pictures that you took yourself and that are really related to your business. But if you don't have that, you can go to a website like Unsplash. And from there, you can download background images. So in our case, this is for a public speaking coach. So let's see what's in there, public speaking. And I would want to have something with an audience. So it shows like, oh, public speaking, you're in front of an audience. So maybe something related like this. So conference seemed to be a good word for that. So something like that is pretty good. This one is pretty nice. Also, this one is actually really nice. So, because it shows really well, like, okay, this is a big crowd. So I would download this one. And I also like this one because it shows like the person in front of the screen. That's really good. So we only need, for the website that we're making, we only need 2 of these. And then we will need an about the author image. So in this case, it would be an image of Esther, our coach. So yeah, those are the assets that we need before we can start building our website. So our logo, some colors, in this case, so I had a dark violet and a dark pink. I would suggest to keep something like really simple, a nice toned down color that goes well with your services. So blue tones are always good, or some dark orange or something, depending on, of course, what you're doing. But you only need 1 color with Theme Builder, because then it will actually take that color and it will nicely make it in lighter colors and like shades and so on. So 1 color is sufficient, and then you might want to pick 1 color that's like your accent color. So for everything that's more like call to action buttons and so on, you may want to have that 1 color too. Let's get started. I have here a fresh WordPress install. And what we want to do is we're going to set up some basic WordPress settings. We're going to install some basic plugins. And then from there, we're going to start making our actual website. So yeah, first of all, let's go into our settings, and then in reading. Here you can see that it says discourage search engines from indexing this site. You definitely do not want that. You can do this once your website is finished, or you can immediately change it now. And then we also want to go into permalinks. So from here, the the best structure is just to take the post name. So rather than having something with like the date or even worse like this number, you will actually have the name of your post as your URL structure. And that is good for SEO purposes because you can actually have the title of your blog post in the URL or of your page in the URL. But it's also just good, like it looks good for people and it's easier to share those type of links. Now, if you know what you're doing SEO wise, you can decide to have category before the post name, but that is only if you're really sure about what the structure of your website will be. So for now, I would suggest for most people just using post name will be the best option here. Then what we want to do, so let's save these changes. Now let's have a look at the essential plugins that you will want to install on every new website. So let's go into plugins, add new, and the first one, let's install Anti-Spamby. This is an anti-spam plugin and it works really well to avoid getting tons of common spams. Then the next one that we want to install is either Yoast SEO or SEO Press. So that's an SEO plugin and it will allow to add things like titles on your pages and so on really easily. And then what we want to do is install Thrive Product Manager. So when you're in your members account, in your member dashboard, you can download the Thrive Product Manager and then you can upload it. So on your website, go to Add New and then upload a plugin. From here, choose a file and then you can choose to upload this Thrive Product Manager and activate the plugin. So from here, you'll see now that you have this Product Manager in your sidebar. That's the Thrive Product Manager. So you'll have to log into your account to connect your website. And then you can simply install the products that you need. Now, for now, I want to show you what happens if you install only the theme builder. So if you install Shapeshift, which is the theme, and then Thrive Theme Builder comes with it. So let's install this one and select product. And then further in the tutorial, I'll show you what happens when you add other Thrive products and what they actually add to your website. All right, let's go to the Theme Builder dashboard. So as you can see here, we have the setup wizard that will guide us through the whole setup. So let's get started. First of all, our logo. So that's the one we just created. You can just pick the dark logo for the moment. And now we can set up our header. So we have a lot of different designs for the header and you can see them all when you open this menu. So you can choose the one that you like. And as you can see, there are dark headers, light headers, headers with a gradient effect and so on. So now the one thing that you want to do is you want to imagine what are the things that you want in your website header. And I suggest that you keep it really simple. So that's why this nice one with just the logo and then a menu and a call to action. I like this square type of button. Immediately we have our logo that's made there and then our navigation. So this we'll have to adapt and then we have a call to action button. Now let's pick this one. Next step is a footer. Because this is a pretty simple website, I don't need so many links in the footer. So I would go for a fairly simple footer, something with just the copyright probably, and leave it at that. And now for our homepage. Shapeshift comes with pre-designed homepages, so that's really nice. You don't have to make them yourself, and you can decide to use that, or you could just show your blog as the homepage. Now, we never suggest that you use your blog as a homepage because you want to make sure that on your homepage you convey what the website is about. So go to the Choose for Ready-Made Homepages. And here you can see that we have different home pages, and this is actually the one that I want to use because this is for a service business. It's made for a service business. But when you click here, you can see that we have other types of home pages. So you can have a look if some of these fit your purpose better. Like the personal branding could also be one for a coaching website that could be really nice if you want to make sure that it's your personality that shines rather than your services. But for this one, I'll go with the service business focused one. Now, don't worry about colors at the moment and text and so on, because everything we will be able to change it afterwards after we're done with the wizard. Now, this is for our single blog post. So this is how our blog post will look like. Again, you can see the standard one here, but you can have a look and see that there are a lot of different layouts that you can use. Some will have the featured image with a text overlay. Some will have like a featured image on a full top section. So you can choose whatever you think fits best. If your website, if you know that you have like a lot of images for your blog post, then probably one of the full width featured images is a good idea. Whereas if maybe your featured image, you know that you will have to use stock photos or something else, then maybe just this title banner with the image underneath it is a better idea. So let's go for this one. Again, we will be able to change all of the details on this later on. Now our blog list. So what do we want people to see when they arrive on the blog page? So you can see that we have this grid layout, maybe a list layout, a masonry layout. So masonry layout, think about like the Pinterest type of layout. Now I like this featured layout because it shows like the featured article is like the first article that you wrote, like really stands out. And then the rest of the articles are in this grid layout. Now, of course, we don't have any articles on this new website yet, so it doesn't look good. But in general, I think this is a pretty cool layout. And this is for the single page, which is just like a simple page layout, which I like. That's the one I'll go with. Again, if you want others, you can either use these arrows to show different ones, or you can go in here and pick a different one. And then we could choose a menu, but in this case, we haven't set up our menu yet. And I'm actually going to use the custom menu from Thrive Theme Builder, which is way more versatile and way easier to use than the WordPress menu. So I'm not actually going to use this. So continue. And that's it. We can now actually go visit the website. I want to show you what this looks like right now. So we already have our header here. We then have our homepage that's already set up. And now we can start changing this and actually linking up our menu and our buttons and so on. But this already looks like a pretty decent website. So let's go in and first of all go through branding. Because as you might notice, our homepage at the moment has all these blue colors. And remember how I told you that I actually wanted to use this dark purple? So that's what I'm gonna change. So in theme colors, you have different options here, but you can also just go in and put in your own color. So in my case, and apply this. And then our logo, remember how we had a dark version and a light version? So I'm actually gonna load the light version in here too. All right, and then here is also where we can upload our favicon that we created. So let's change this. And now we have our favicon also. In typography, you could change the typography here. You can go in and then you can change like the typography for all the headings or for the text or so on. Now, if you're not a font nerd, or if you don't have really good aesthetics for fonts, then I suggest that you just leave it with the fonts that our designers picked. They are very readable, and everything is done so that you will have a good looking website right off the bat. So you don't have to change this. If you want to, you can change like all headings and so on. And you can also here see what it will look like on tablet and on mobile. So as you can see, these are already adapted. You don't have to do anything there. So for the moment, I suggest we just do not touch this. And then we have our template. So that's where it becomes really, really fun, because then we can start changing everything. Now, I do want to show you, I realized that I actually didn't show you what happened with our theme colors, right? But have a look at our homepage now. Let's reload this. And now, as you can see, everything that was blue changed to our dark purple, and it just immediately looks exactly the way we want it. Like it has our color on there. So that's pretty cool. With just one click, the whole website is changed, because if now we go to our blog homepage, for example, you can see that here also it has the purple overlay. Here our testimonials now have the purple, our opt-in form has the purple. So everything got changed with these smart colors. So that's pretty nice. Now the next thing that we have to set up before we actually go into tweaking our templates and going into our homepage and changing all of that is I want to go to Thrive dashboard. And from here, let's scroll down, and we want to go to our API connections, because we want to make sure that we set up a lead generation email marketing connection. We integrate with a ton of services. So if you already have an account, then just go ahead. It's probably there. You can just connect with it. But if you don't have an account yet, a completely free option is ConvertKit. They recently changed their plan for free. Another one is MailChimp. And then the one that we use and suggest if you if you know that you will get a lot of leads and you're ready to invest from the get-go, then I would say Active Campaign. Now, let me quickly show you how you would connect this with ConvertKit, but we have tutorials on all of these connections. So here you would go into your account, and then in account settings, you can see your API key, and that's the only thing you need. So you just want to add a new connection, select ConvertKit, and then type in your API key. And that's it. Your email provider is now connected. And so when somebody signs up, if it's connected to this, then they will automatically go into your ConvertKit account. So that's how easy this was. And now let's go back to our dashboard. And from here, the other thing that we want to do is go to Smart Sites and global fields. So in the global fields, you can see that we have the company name, the address, the phone number, and so on. And these elements, if you picked a footer where maybe the phone number or the address of the company was already pre-selected or already pre-entered, then here is where you want to put the company information. Same with the legal and same with the social icons. So the social icons that are in Shapeshift are connected with these global fields. So you want to make sure that you fill this out with your own information so that the website is connected. So fill out all the global fields that you need. Then let's go back to our dashboard and go into our analytics and scripts. So this is where you'll put in things like your Google tracking code, for example. So your Google Analytics, this is where you put this. If you have a general Facebook script, this is where you put it. So any analytics that you have, you can put in here. So for the Google Analytics, for example, they tell you to put it before the head. So we can just add the new script and then say that we want this before head. And as you can see, it gets recognized as a Google Analytics script. So now with this added, it is installed on our complete website and we don't have to do anything about that anymore. All right, those were the 3 very important settings to get right. Now we can actually start having some fun and playing around with our templates. So let's go to the theme builder, to our template. Now at this point, if you want to, you can change the name of the theme to actually give it like your own name because you're customizing it. So in that case, you can here change the name, so you could rename it and call this Esther Phillips theme, for example, so that you know that this is the website that you're working on. And then we can go into our homepage. Let's do that first, the most important page on our website. So let's do that first. So one thing that I want to do is for this header, I wanted to take the content size of the layout so that it only goes the size of the layout. And let's start with our navigation menu, right? So this is the same header everywhere on the website. So if we make changes to this header on the homepage, it will automatically happen on all the pages. So let's click on our header and then go to Edit Header. From here, this is a custom menu. So always think about the breadcrumbs. It's really easy to select stuff with the breadcrumbs. So go to your custom menu and then you can see here the menu items, or you can just change them here, like click on them and change them. So the first thing could be probably our blog. Next we want our services. About. We don't have submenus. And so now we have our menu set up. Now I didn't link it yet because we haven't created the pages yet. That's something that we could have done before starting working on this homepage, or something that we can do right now. So for the blog, it automatically created already. So you'll see if you go into your pages, we already have the blog page set up. So that is the page where our posts will be shown. So when you view this, this gives us the link to this page. So in our homepage, we can either here search for blog, and it will make this show up, or we could paste the URL in there. Then we want to create a page for our services. So just add new, call this services. And we can either publish this directly or we can save it as a draft. It doesn't really matter. So if we publish it, then we will actually have the right URL here. So that would be easier. Now, if you don't want to publish pages without content, then you can save it as a draft and then copy this URL and then just make sure that you don't change it or that you change it over when needed. But I'm just actually gonna publish this. And then we can put this in our services right here. Now, let's do the same with an about page. Copy the link and add it in here. Our contact page. And finally, this is our lead generation page that we want to build. So let's also create a new page for that one. So now we have our menu set up and it's linked to the correct pages. If we want to change, for example, the color of this button, we can do that too. Simply click on it. And as you can see, this is actually a menu item that is unlinked from the other menu items. So we can change it. And for example, here we have our borders and corners. So we could change that and maybe say like, oh, I actually want this to be like the same color as this one. And if you want to change the hover color, that's in state, go to hover, and then you can change the hover color there. Now I actually really like this, so I'm not going to change it. But of course you can do that if you want to. So this is done. This was our heading. Now what we want to do is we want to change this homepage, and we want to make sure that it fit our need. Now remember how we downloaded 2 background images, right? So that was the one that we will put here on top, and then there's another one that we want here on the page. So what's important to understand when you upload images to your website is that you want to make sure that you upload them in the right size for your website. So in this case, this is a background image, so it is a pretty big image, but we still want to make sure that we don't upload just like a 3 megabyte big image. And for that, I suggest that you go to a website called kraken.io. And from here you can upload any of the images, and you can, this will compress them. So it will make them a whole lot smaller, which will help with the loading speed of your website. But you also want to make sure that you upload them on the right size. So let's see the images that we downloaded right before. So I can see when I go into the details of this image that this is actually 4,000 pixels wide. So that's way too wide for what we need on our website. For a background image, you can just use a 1900 wide pixel. That's more than enough. So that's actually half the size of this image. So we want to make sure that we don't upload this super big image, but that we actually already make it smaller. Now it's actually really easy. You can just do this with Paint on your computer if you have a PC. If you have a Mac, I'm sure there's a very similar version of this. So just right click, go on Edit, and then here you can go to Resize, choose Pixels, and then on horizontal let's choose 1900. Okay, let's now save this. We can call it and then let's do the same with this other image. Now that we have these images on the right size, we still want to make sure to optimize those images. So we're in kraken.io and we can just drag the images here. And as you can see, this went from 700 to 500, and this one went from 600 to 400. So both of them had savings of over 20. And online, this can make a huge difference in loading times. So let's save this image. And this one. And now let's go back to our homepage. So from here, the first background section, we want to click on it and then go into our background style. And as you can see here, this is one of the things that I really love with Thrive Architect, is that we have these 2 layers on the background image. And this means that you don't have to use Photoshop, you don't have to do anything special to the image. As you saw, I just went to a stock photo website and I downloaded a photo. I didn't open Photoshop or any sophisticated tools. Then I can go here and choose the image that I just krakened. And insert this one. And then I can still position it if I want to. But as you can see, even though this was a very dark image, because of the linear gradient, because of this second layer that's already on the image, it still really looks good. So the only thing now that I have to do is change my headline. Next up, we have these 3 different options for services. So here I would say, for example, for a coach, I would be like one-on-one sessions, and then group sessions, and then online sessions, for example. So that's a really good way to show off your services. And these are simply icons. So when you click on them in the main options, you can see the icons, and then you can select from one of the many icons that are available in Thrive Architect. You can find an icon that fits your service. Again, here we have another background image. So in our background style, let's upload our second background image here. And this works because of the overlay that we have here. And then we have testimonials. So this is where you can very easily use things that people said about you. And then here we have a post list. Now this, at the moment, we don't have blog posts set up yet. So this is empty, but the way you can use this on a homepage is you can select the post list, and I'm actually going to show you how to set this up. So let's go into posts and new, and say that we helped John Doe during his TEDx talk, right? And just publish this blog post. Now, of course, we want to make sure that we have a featured image and so on. But now what I want to show you is if we have 4 of these posts. So I created 4 blog posts, and these are blog posts that we want to use as case studies. So for that, we want to make sure that we put them in the category case study. And then from here in categories, add a new one, call it case study, and update. Now we can do that for all the posts that we want to show in the case studies on our homepage. In our case study list, what we want to do is go in, filter posts, and then here add a new rule, and we want to show categories. And then we want to show only the case study category. And that's date published, descending. Okay, 4, that works. So now we know that on our homepage, the only posts that will show are the posts that we add to the category case study. So if we have a new case study, we can add it to that category, and automatically this will get updated on the homepage. And then here we have a contact form. So simply click on it, and you can email, and after submit, setup. So that is how you would have your email set up here. So in this case, you would just send it to contact@estherphillips.com or whatever your website is. And that's how simple you have a contact form set up. All right, one more thing here is our button. What we would do is we link it to our public speaking masterclass. So from here in our find out, our target URL. So we can link this button to our page. And now when somebody clicks on it, they will also go to our lead generation landing page that we will set up in a second. So far we already have our header set up, we have our homepage set up. Of course, you would have to do some more writing and some more content on there, but that is super easy. Just click on it and change the text. You can follow the template here because it's really made for a service provider so that you can make sure that everything is optimized. One thing that you can do is you can link these content boxes. So when you click on it, you can add a link to the content box. And then in this case, I would link this to the service page. So if this is your one-on-one, then you can click on this complete content box and then link it and add a link to this. Now, the reason I would link this whole content box is, of course, you can just link only this arrow, but it will be much easier for people to click on it when you link the whole content box. So that's one thing that I would definitely do on this homepage. Here in our About Us, the Learn More would be attached to your About Us page. So our About page. Let's take that link, and here in our About. Now, if you want to change anything, like the text on this button, anything, you can simply do that. But yeah, this is already our homepage. Now, let's see how we would set up the other pages on this website, shall we? Now, let's go to our About page. So as you can see here, we have our background section, we have our title on our background section, then we have this bottom section with a call to action button. Now, these are elements that are theme builder related. So when you see edit with Thrive Architect or edit with the actual template, when you want to edit anything in here, so in the top section or in the bottom section, you would need to use the theme builder. If you want to put content on the page, then you use Thrive Architect. Now, as you know, I didn't activate Thrive Architect yet. That's because Theme Builder comes with Thrive Architect Lite. So you will be able to edit your content visually already on the pages, even if you don't have the full architect installed, but you won't have access to certain elements such as landing page templates and a whole bunch of templates. So that's why having Architect and Theme Builder together is really a winning combination. Now let's have a look at how I would set up our About page. So because I'm in Thrive Architect, it means that I can only add elements here in the post content of this page. This is the title, I can't change it from here. This is the bottom section, I can't actually change it from here. I would have to be in the template because this bottom section is the same for all the pages. Now, if I'm on a specific page and I don't want to have this bottom section, I can go into our visibility settings and I could say to, for example, not show this bottom section. So I can just say to hide this and then it's just not showing. So I don't have to change the template. If I actually want this on most of my pages, but not on this one, I can just hide it on a page level. So that's always an option, right? You can always say like, oh, this top section, like with the title, whatever, I don't actually want it. I'm just gonna hide it. And yeah, so that's something that you can always do. Now I could start building this page and just very simply be like, okay, I want text on this page and I want to have an image and I'm going to drag that next to this and whatever. But I want to show you something that's even easier to make sure that you have a really nicely designed website, and that is using the page blocks that we have available in Theme Builder. So for that, we're actually gonna override this page template and we're gonna use the page blocks. Let's go into our landing pages and change this page to a landing page. Here you can see that we have all these landing pages available if you have Thrive Architect available. Now, because you don't have Thrive Architect installed yet, you only have access to the Shapeshift theme, and then from here we can pick the blank page that's available. Now, the very first thing that I want to do, because this is the about page, is I actually want to show the header and I want to show the footer. And I want this to be the exact header that's on the page, right? So we'll pick the default header and we'll also pick the default footer. So now we have our header and our footer as we're used to. I'm just going to make sure that this inherits the size of the content. So the footer, and same on the header. So now we have the exact same layout as we're used to, and we can start adding page blocks. So this is where this becomes super powerful, because our designers did all the hard lifting for you. Let's see what I mean. As you can see, all of these blocks are available for you to use on your site, and you can build your pages with this. So for example, this is one that I like for an about page, because it has like this image and then a title, and we can very easily replace this image with our other image, and this is now, if you want to know exactly how to build a good about page, we have a full course on that. So I'm not going to go into the details in this video, because the video is already getting really long, but you can simply do that. You can go watch that video and then you'll learn more about it. One of the things, so with the page blocks, it's very easy. You can simply add more page blocks to it. So for example, maybe the next thing that we want is some testimonials about people that worked with Esther. And then from here, we can have some text. So let's go into our text. We have a normal text block. And maybe we use one of these benefits of working with me. And you can see that we can very easily build a site that matches our homepage. And we can also from here use our colors that are on our site already. So we could use one of our accent colors. And this is a very easy way to have everything match the colors on your site, because as you can see, this automatically changed to use your theme colors. So this fits your theme colors already. And all of these blocks are also made to be mobile optimized. So you know that if you're using one of the blocks, that you don't have to worry about how this looks on mobile. It will always look good. So let's save this. And now let's see where we are on our website, right? From here, we have already a professionally looking homepage. We have our case studies. We still have to fill out those blog posts, but we have our case studies on our homepage. And then when we click on this, it would go to our landing page that we still have to make. Our blog page is now has our case study blog post that we created, and our about page is now also already starting to look like something that looks like a real about page. So now let's go into our templates and tweak this a little bit, right? Because these, maybe you don't want these things in the sidebar, maybe you don't want a sidebar at all, maybe you want to make sure that this is linked up, not maybe, you want to make sure that this is linked up with your email provider and so on. So those are things that we'll do from the template. Now, what's really easy is you can just go to the page on your site, and then you'll see here, edit this template with theme builder. So when you see like the T, it means that you're editing in theme builder. And now from here, we can still change just about anything we want. So if you want a different top section, you can just replace this top section with something different. So maybe on the top of our blog, we also want one of these call to actions for our public speaking mastery. So here, this would be and let's link this up. With our public speaking mastery page. So now on the top of our blog, we have this call to action, and then we have our blog post. We can still decide whether maybe if you don't post very regularly, you don't really want to show the date, for example. So in that case, you can just go into edit design, and from here maybe delete the date and these comments. So maybe this is not something that you want. Here, if you want to say something else and read more, we can just go in and say continue reading, for example. And as you can see, automatically, because this is a list, it will update every instance of that list. So when you like this, you can just save it. Now this is the featured image because we haven't added featured image to our blog post yet. This doesn't look good yet, but that's okay. Here you can change the testimonials. This is a list, and here again we can just make sure that we show only our case studies on the site. So in that case, filter, add a new rule, categories, our case study category. And then here, in order to connect this opt-in form, we can simply click on it, add a connection, and because we already connected our ConvertKit with our API connection in the Thrive dashboard, this is just a one-click thing. So then you can just select your list and get this set up. These follow us buttons are linked to our global fields. So these are already linked up. We don't have to do anything here. And then we can decide whether we want this bottom section on our blog. Maybe the most important call to action here is just our opt-in form. So maybe, we don't want to have a contact form here. So we can just hide this bottom section on our blog template. Now this looks okay. Let's go back to our website and refresh this. And now, as you can see, this is our new blog list. So we have our nice call to action here. Yeah, and this is really how you can set out and make page by page on your website. You've seen this is super easy, especially if you use the page blocks. It is super easy. And if you don't want to use the page blocks, you can still, let's say that for the contact form, for the contact page, for example, let's say that this is not something that you want to use blocks for, because the only thing that you need is a contact form. Then you can simply go into Thrive Architect and here go into contact form, drag a contact form on the page, and let's make this a bit smaller, maybe like 300 pixels. Nah, 500. And next to this, maybe you want to have your picture, so let's put an image next to this. Let's make this image a bit smaller. And that's why we have blocks, because it's really hard to design things on your own. But you can see, you can still add any element that you want on your page and simply create your pages from scratch. keeping the template that you decided. And then if you want to change this template, so let's say that now we want to make sure that this bottom section is linked up, which is not the case yet. If you click on this bottom now, nothing happens, and it still says, it still has the dummy text in there. So for that, let's go into our template and let's say ready to start. Rockstar. And this would also go to our mastery. Yes. Show me how. All right, and probably this background image with the computer is not really the right style. So I think probably one of the images that we had here will do. Now again, as you can see, because we have this solid color overlay here, it looks good, it fits our theme. We can add any image to this bottom section and it will just look good. So now any page that we add will have this on the bottom section, will have this on the top section. So this is the title. And then we can simply, when you go here, you can see that it's telling you that this is the content that you can change with Thrive Architect. Now, what if you want a sidebar in the end? If you decide like, oh, I actually do want to have a sidebar on my pages. In that case, you can go into content. And here, when you hover over it, you can see show sidebar. So now you can just show the sidebar and this will be available, and then from there we can still replace this, pick one of the other sidebars that's available. Maybe you want to have like this service page sidebar, so that's the one with the testimonials and so on. So here you can then change your elements in your sidebar again the way I showed you before. Or we can just hide it again. But that's how you would add a sidebar to your page template. Now, last but not least, we haven't looked at our blog templates yet. So let's go to one of our blog templates. And as you can see here, we have this gray background with the title, the comments on there. Then we have the author and the date, the featured image, the share. And then here is where the content would be, and we have an author box. And we also have here the sidebar with the different elements. Now, all of this, you can still change it. If we go in here, change the theme template. Now let's go to our top section. So we can either change this top section or we can replace it altogether. So maybe in the end, you decided that you did want to have your featured image on top, for example, or you can just click on it and then maybe change the background style. Maybe we want this more lilac color to fit the rest of the website. And then here, so the content, this is what is shown in Thrive Architect. Your author description comes from your WordPress author users. So if you're here in users, your profile, anything that you put here in the biographical information is what will be shown here in the about the author box. So you can decide whether you want that or not in your templates. And then this is the comment section. And here we have this ebook section on the bottom of our blog post. In our case, this might be not something we want, or we might want to replace this again with maybe a simple call to action. Maybe something like this. And let's link this button up. Now, I don't actually want a sidebar on my blog post, so I would hide this sidebar. And now if we want to add content to our blog post, we can switch to Thrive Architect. And here is where we would give more information. So we would start with putting text in there, probably a heading 2 first, and then some more text, and then probably some image, and so on, right? Like you can really just create your blog post the way you're used to in Thrive Architect, or if you're not used to it yet, this is a really, really easy and fun way to create your blog post. But you will only be able to edit everything that is within the content section. Now, one more thing is also for posts, you have post visibility settings. And if there's anything that you don't want on this post, so let's say that you actually do not want comments on this post because this is more of a case study, then you can just take it out for this specific. All right, now it's time to go to our Thrive Product Manager and to actually activate some other Thrive plugins. Product Manager. And I'm going to install Thrive Leads. I will install Thrive Ovation, Thrive Architect, and Thrive Comments. All right, first of all, the reason why I installed this product is because Thrive Comments is really cool. It adds like upvoting and downvoting possibility for users, and it's just way more flexible than the original comments function. So that's something that I definitely want to activate in our Thrive dashboard. Now we have Thrive Comments that's available here. So here we have some general settings, so you can choose whether you want to show the date, for example, or not. And for our accent color, I'm going to make sure to use our theme color. And here, the voting badges, that's one of the really fun things that you can do with Thrive Comments too. It means that people, when they commented a number of times, for example, they get a badge for being like a good contributor and so on. So here you can also decide, like I said, for voting. So you can say only like upvote and downvote, only upvote or no voting. So I like the upvoting. And then we can give people badges. So for that, you can see here we have these badges available. So let's say top commenter, if the get a number of approved comments, so maybe somebody is like a top helper when he replies to other people, or featured comments is when you actually like pin a comment to the top because it's a really good comment and adds something to the conversation, or upvotes if somebody got a lot of upvotes. So a top commenter, maybe if they have 10 approved comments, you can give them one of these nice badges, like something like this, being like, oh, this is a top commenter. So yeah, this is just a few really cool things that you can do. I wouldn't give the moderators badges though. A few really cool things that you can do with Thrive Comments. So you can just activate that and you'll see that this automatically activated Thrive Comments rather than the standard WordPress comments. The next one that I installed was Thrive Architect. Like I said, Theme Builder has Thrive Architect Lite installed, but there are a couple of things that you won't have access to, and those are, for example, templates and landing pages. So, and one thing that we want to do with our pages here is we want to make sure, so first of all, this front page, it's called generated homepage, so I would make sure to edit this, call it home, and then also our slug. And for SEO, we want to make sure that we also give this another title and meta description. And then we wanted to have our public speaking mastery page as a landing page. So let's edit this with Thrive Architect. As you can see here, we have our normal page layout, and we could add a lead generation form on this. But honestly, if you want a high converting landing page, a way better way to do it is to go to our landing pages here and to select one of the available landing pages, maybe like this from the Bright Smart Set. And you can have the lead generation one. And this gives us this really nice landing page that is made for people to convert them into leads. So as you notice, we don't have a header anymore, we don't have a footer anymore, and that's exactly what we want on these pages, because we want to make sure that the only thing that people can do is click on the button and sign up for our list. So the first thing that we can do here is we can go change our accents to match our colors of our theme. Actually, we could probably go for this one, and then I would change the main accent to match my color. So all right, so now this has the same color as the rest of our websites. And you can very simple, so everything here is a Thrive Architect element. So this means that you can just type in here, you don't need Photoshop, you don't need to change this. You can simply do this. And then one thing here is, because this is a two-step opt-in form, we need to change the lead, the lightbox. So from here, you can see that this button is in animations and actions is related to a lightbox. So let's edit this and edit this lightbox. So here we can change the text, of course, and then we can change this for, color to match our brand colors. But the most important thing is that we connect this lead generation form, so we can add a connection and then choose our ConvertKit connection. And I haven't have any mailing list set up, so I would need to go into my ConvertKit and set up a mailing list for this to work. But that's how easy you can connect your lead generation form. And now we can simply apply this color, and this matches the rest of our website. Oh, I see that this still has a border. So in borders and corners, we can also apply our own color. So save this. And now let's preview this. So now we have this landing page. When somebody clicks, they will see this lightbox show up. And this means that when somebody is on our homepage and they click either on this button or on this button, so here they will go to our landing page. When they are on our, what was it, on our contact page, I think we also have here, this also goes to our landing page. Now, as you can see, this is a really good way to collect leads on your coaching website. And then I also installed Thrive Leads. The reason why I installed Thrive Leads is because this allows you to have any opt-in form on your website that you want. So for example, you can have a lightbox, you can have a slide in, you can have a ribbon on your website. So all of these are done through Thrive Leads. So you can simply add a new lead group. And then you add a new type of opt-in form. So like I said, you can have a whole bunch of different opt-in forms that are available. So let's say we want a screen filler. So that's one of those full width forms. Now, the advantage of Thrive Leads is also that you can very easily do A/B testing on the forms. So if you care about lead generation and getting more leads on your website, which I hope you do because you're trying to make a conversion-focused coaching website, then Thrive Leads will really help you to do that. So we have a whole bunch of templates that you can choose from, or you can start from scratch if you want to. So maybe we go for a multiple choice opt-in form here. Discover what you need to master public speaking. Our element, our background style, we would have our website color, and then this image we can use Esther as our image. And maybe this is one of the coaching images. Now, in this case, we could have our yes please go to another state. So this means that people would see an opt-in form when they go to that state, and our no, not yet, we could make that close our form, for example. So in this case, the yes please, let's see, is connected to our switch state, and you can see here it would go to state 1. So state 1, you would adapt this to what you want, and then make this to add your connection, your ConvertKit connection. And by the way, this is how you would see what people would actually see on your site. So you can hide the sidebar to have the full width. And then if we go back to our default state, we can say that this one, our button, instead of switch state, we could actually say that it closes the form. So here, close the form. Okay, apply. And then we don't need state 2 anymore, so we can delete that. We could just leave it too, it doesn't make any difference. And then our button, our main options. So let's change our color on this button. And maybe this one, we want to make it like light gray. Make it less appealing. So as you can see, you can really change everything on this opt-in form, right? And this is what people would see in our case on our blog posts. So let's save this. And let's go back to Thrive Leads. Here, actually, I forgot to show you something. Here you have your triggers to display immediately on page load or after a certain time, how often you want to show it to the same people if they come back, and the animation you want to have. So you can very easily change this to be after a certain period of time or whatever. So this is very flexible, and this is also something that you could test if you want to A/B test. And then what we have to do is we still have to set up our targeting. So in our case, we would set this to all posts on our site, which now means that we can display this on desktop, and maybe we don't want to have this full overlay on mobile, so I wouldn't show it on mobile. So make sure to switch this on desktop. And now when we go to a blog posts, we get this full overlay on our site. And that is something that you can do with Thrive Leads that you wouldn't be able to do with any of the other tools. So again, if you want a ribbon, if you want slide in, if you want a lightbox or one of these full screen overlays, that's how you would add them with Thrive Leads. And then the last plugin that I installed was Thrive Ovation. Now, Thrive Ovation allows you to collect testimonials. And what I would do on a website that I set up for a coach is I would actually add a page. I would call this collect testimonials, and I would make this page no index, because this is a page that I do not want search engines to find. This is something that I would use internally for my own marketing in order to collect testimonials from my users. So we do not need this to be in the search engines, right? We do not want people to actually find this page in Google. So that's why with the SEO Press plugin that we installed, we can very easily say not to index this. And now I would edit this page with Thrive Architect. On the page, I would probably not have this bottom section because these people are already on our email list, or they are already clients, so they don't need to see this. So the bottom section, I would hide it. And then instead of having collect testimonials as our title, I would also call this something like leave us a testimonial. And then here we can have the capture testimonials. This is what we're looking for. Take the simple form. Let's change the form settings. And so here we can say like, okay, we're asking for the name, their email. Maybe we don't want to ask a role. We do want to ask for the website, not a testimonial title. And then what was your takeaway from your coaching with me? And maybe something else like, would you recommend being coached by Esther? And I would probably not, you can have the image field, which is going to load the image automatically from people. They can load it from their Gravatar, but you can also not have this. And then you can either send people to a specific thank you page. So maybe you could give them a gift for leaving you a testimonial and be like, hey, if you leave me a gift, I'll send you this free ebook. Or you could just show a success message. And this is how you can set up your testimonial form. And now you can collect testimonials from your website, and with Thrive Ovation, these will automatically be saved in your dashboard. Here is where you will see all the testimonials, and then you can very easily use this anywhere on your website. So this is the basic setup that I would do for a coaching website. I hope that that was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, then don't hesitate and let me know in the comments below.